Hola, clase. ¿Cómo están? Excelente! And welcome back to a brand new week of learning with Senor Cacao. This is the Spanish 2 video. So let's go ahead and get started. Kick this week off the right way here. Ah. Okay. All right, so here's our warm up. We're using our stem changing verbs just for one more time. Things like querer, poder, etc. All right, so go ahead, saquen papel y practiquen. Pause the video now. All right, first one. I want to run is yo, if you want to write yo, quiero correr. Quiero means I want, correr, to run. Número dos, we prefer the chicken sandwich. All right, so preferimos, and here's how do you think we say chicken sandwich in Spanish? It's not chicken and then sandwich. Think about it for a minute. Preferimos el sándwich de pollo. We prefer the sandwich of chicken. That's what it's made of. The way to ask, do they serve milk? Sirven leche? He can swim. In other words, he is able to swim. Would be él, if you want to write él, puede nadar. He is able to swim. How would you ask your friend, do you play Rocket League? Juegas Rocket League? Typically the name of a game is not translated. Número siete, or seis. I eat lunch at Wendy's. Yo almuerzo en Wendy's. And again, if you get in a pinch and you can't remember the word almorzar, it would be fine to say yo como el almuerzo en Wendy's. Okay? All right. Muy bien. Now, next I want to go over your verbs. Verbs 21 through 40. So last week we spent time with 1 through 20. So this week, let's have a look at 21 through 40. All right? So 21. Now, before we even start, and hopefully you have a paper copy of this by now, I really highly suggest printing this. Let me make sure we're still recording. Okay, good. What I would do on your paper, even if you have to copy these down, it's worth your time. I would go through each one and put a little check or some kind of mark next to each one, either that you already know or it's something that will not be a problem to you, like a cognate. A cognate, if you don't know, is a word that you can look at and just tell what it means. For example, celebrar, you can look at it and tell it means celebrate. Um, Another one is decorar, to decorate. So I would mark that one off. Basically, we're marking off ones that you will not have to spend time studying. Okay, all right, so let's start with number 21. Cocinar, to cook. Comer, to eat. Comprar, to buy. Conocer. Conocer. Hold on. I promise I don't yawn until I do these videos. Conocer, it means to know, but it's much more like to be familiar with. Okay, this is for when you personally know a person. Like to say, oh yeah, I know Juan. Or if you know a place very well. Like if you know your way around Chicago, you say, yo conozco Chicago. So everything is regular about that verb except for yo. With yo, it becomes conozco. 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 If you want to say, I know Maria, conozco a Maria. I know Chicago, conozco Chicago. So if you say you know a person, you put an a. Anyway, moving on. All right, contestar means to answer. Correr, to run. Cortar, to cut. Costar, to cost, and that is an O to UE, like cuesta. Dar, to give. Dar de comer, to feed, literally to give food to something. Deber is in Spanish how we say should. You should, you ought to, you must. It also means to owe. Like if I say, tú debes dinero, you owe money. Let's see it. Deber, and then a verb, is to tell someone that they should do something. Or you have to, you ought to. So if I say, you should study, debes estudiar. You should study. You need to study. Decorar, to decorate. Dejar de is to stop doing something. Um, Many times you use this to you can tell someone to stop doing something. Like if somebody's talking, you want to say stop talking, you say deja de hablar. Deja de hablar. Or you could say something like last night when I stopped working. Anoche cuando dejé de estudiar, etc. Desayunar is to have breakfast. Descansar is to rest, also to relax. Dibujar, to draw. Dormir, to sleep. Empezar is to start or begin. And finally, empezar a is to start doing something. I started studying at 5 o'clock. Empecé a estudiar a las 5. Okay, now one thing, as always, that we take time doing is making mnemonics. So cocinar means to cook. The place where you cook is the cocina, the kitchen. Comer, we've comer we've done a million times. It means to eat. You can look at it, it's the C eating the O. It's like a little Pac-Man or a little mouth. Comer. Comprar is to buy. If you see something on a commercial, you go comprar it. That's what .com is short for, commercial. It means it's a business. Conocer, contestar. If you're in a contest, you answer questions. Correr, you already know means to run, but I like to think of the two little those R's as little feet that are running. Correr. Cortar, cut. Both have a C and a T. That's not too bad. Costar starts with the word cost. Dar is to give. Imagine someone handing you a present and saying, "Dar you go." They're giving it to you. Deber looks kind of like the name Debbie. Like, oh man, Debbie should really cut that hair. Decorar looks like decorate. Let's see, anything else? Dibujar, draw. Both start with a D. Dormir. Anything dorm is sleeping. Dormant, dormitory. All those things involve sleeping or being in a state of sleeping. And there you go. Empezar has the word pez in it. I'm going to start on these pez candies today. Okay. Now, I have made a Quizlet for this. I really just expanded your last Quizlet. So, if you go to tinyurl.com/cow new verbs, it will take you right to this page. And as you can see, you just flip them. To cook, cocinar. To eat, comer. To buy, comprar. To know, be familiar with, conocer, etc. Okay? So those are all there for you as well. Just keeping in mind which ones of these are stem changers or have a weird yo, like this one is yo conozco, etc. Okay, so I would definitely take some time to do that. Now, there is an assignment that I've posted on your Google Classroom, and I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. It says, write 10 sentences using only verbs 21 through 40 from your list. Make them true sentences about what real people in your life do. This will be turned in, but not for a grade. It is practice, okay? So I don't need to sit around and grade every little thing y'all do, but I will be looking at them to see, are you understanding this? How is your conjugation and your spelling? Okay, all of those things. So I do want you to do that and turn it in. It just is not for a grade. Also, any words that you need to look up, you can use word reference, you can use Spanish dict. I'm still seeing things from translators and I'm not happy about it, okay? Don't use translators. It's cheating. Avoid it. Okay. Now let me continue. All right, this is not going to be the longest lesson today. I just want to introduce this and then leave you there. All right. So the present progressive tense. Before, we learned the present tense. Practico, I practice. Corro, I run. So practico could mean I'm practicing. Like if I ask you, what are you doing? ¿Qué haces? You could say, practico mi español. I'm practicing my Spanish. The present progressive is the ing of Spanish. There is no question that it is happening right now as we speak. So, the first thing you have to remember, whenever you do this, you have to have both parts every single time. On the left, you have a form of estar, and on the right, you have ando, yendo. A and B every time, no exception. All right? So, again, you have estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. If it ends with AR, you put ando. If it ends with ER, IR, you put yendo. Okay? For example, I am talking. Estoy hablando. Estoy means I am. Hablando means talking. That's why you have to have both. We are running. Estamos corriendo. Estamos, we are. Corriendo, running. Estamos corriendo. And I can tell you, this verb form is extremely common. People say this all the time. So I was like, hold on, I'm talking on the phone. I'm hanging out with John. All right, here are two examples for you to try. Go ahead using your format that you got, which was this. Using this, estar, and then ando or yendo, depending. Translate these. All right, so pause the video and try these now. All right, he is eating. Él está comiendo. They are listening. Están escuchando. Now, there are a couple things about spelling here. If there are two vowels in a row in the original verb, you may have to change the spelling to maintain the integrity of the word. Here is a simple example of what I'm talking about. With the verb leer, let's see if I can just, yeah, okay, good. All right, so if I have leer, and then I want to say leyendo. So I take off the ER and I make it I-E-N-D-O, like any other verb. The problem is now we have three vowels in a row, and it's like leyendo, and it's just not strong. So what we do is we change that I to a Y, and now it says leyendo, and it has a nice, strong, held together sound. Because vowels, all vowels do is they go right? So we need those consonants. Y does not count as a vowel in Spanish, by the way. Same thing here. Traer. So let's start at the first. Leer, leyendo. Traer, trayendo. Ir, yendo. Okay, and we're almost done. Y'all doing great. Some verbs do have a stem change in this tense, such as dormir instead of dormiendo becomes durmiendo. Morir instead of moriendo becomes muriendo. Servir, sirviendo, and decir, diciendo. Some stem changers do this, some do not. Okay, like jugar, for example, to play, jugar just becomes jugando, jugando. Okay, so here are two for you to try. I am sleeping, we are reading. We have dormir and leer. All right, I am sleeping, estoy durmiendo. We are reading, estamos leyendo. And that's all for today's lesson. So again, this was a short one. With the time that remains, I want you to head over to Quizlet and spend a little time with these verbs, okay? Because y'all may have a test coming up that maybe it covers 40 of these verbs, which is perfectly reasonable. So you got to be ready, okay? All right, so let me go back to myself here. All right. So that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow. Hasta mañana. Adios.